Hello and welcome into another edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. I'm the football voice of the Hoyas, Jeremy Huber, joined by Georgetown head coach Rob Scarlatta. Rob, it's so glad to see you again. It's so glad that it's football season.
Yeah, it's great to be back. Looking forward to this weekend opening here on the Hilltop against Davidson.
And coach, the emotions of a new season for you, obviously a nice year last year. What is it like for you at this time, kind of knowing that football's right here and it's time to kind of strap it up and get back out there?
Yeah, it's interesting. We're out of camp and into a game week, so certain things start to change. The timing changes. School actually started today, so for all our guys, they were going from practice and meetings today to a quick lift and then to classes. So everything is kind of running downhill. It's a lot of fun to see a year's worth of work about to come to fruition here as we open our season on Saturday.
And Rob, that's one thing I wanted to ask you. I believe last year and in past years, you really had about 10 days from the start of school until that first game. Now it's a little compressed. I know you've been a college coach pretty much your entire adult life, but I know in high school times, it's tough with that first day, kids thinking about classes. Have you kind of thought about how to keep your guys focused with a new school year starting right now?
Yeah, anytime you're at a place like Georgetown with the academics and just a lot of demands on our players, you try and really teach them to be where their feet are. So when they're with us, hopefully they're not thinking about how to get to class and where the buildings are and those things. And then when they're up at class, just making sure they're focused there. So, being really mindful of being in the present, really helps us on the field as well as in the classroom here. So, it's the normal progression. It's great to get all the other student athletes here back on campus. We had a big welcome event with our athletic director, Lee Reed, last night, and the entire department, every sport was together last night. And then, focusing in on the start of all the fall seasons. A lot of the head coaches here at Georgetown are very close. So, wishing luck to all the fall teams that have returned, our soccer teams, volleyball, field hockey, and our track programs that are all back here on campus and working really hard, just like we are, as they start their contest for the year.
Rob, back to your team, fall camp. I know you're obviously trying to get guys up to speed, kind of hit the ground running for game one, but you're also trying to make sure everything goes as is and guys kind of stay healthy while also being ready for the season. How did fall camp go for your guys?
Yeah, honestly, this is my 29th year coaching and my 10th year as a head coach here. It was one of the more competitive camps that we've had. I give our coaching staff a lot of credit for creating game situations in our practices and really getting a level of energy and competition on the field and in the weight room to be extremely high this year. So, coming out of fall camp, knock on wood, we are relatively healthy, just like everybody's hoping to be. And I really think that's the art in coaching, is getting your players ready to go into a live football game in a couple days here and balancing that with the demands of being healthy, throughout the fall camp. So, we have a great training staff here. We have a great strength staff here. And I've been really lucky to work in alignment with them to make sure that we're going to, have put enough work in so we're ready for the physical nature of this season, as well as have our guys fresh and ready to go.
Rob, for those fans out there, I thought this would be a good question. State of the program. Obviously, this thing was about as competitive as it's been in the last few years. I think at least 3 out of the last 5 years, you've been right on that 500 line, just off of it. What's the state of the Georgetown program right now in your eyes?
I think we're back from after pandemic and getting back into the swing of things, meaning having a full year to train, to go through an off-season program, to go through spring practice into the summer training that we had. So, last year we played a lot of young players. We had 9 freshmen starting games, 12 plays, significant time. And now you're starting to see a lot of those guys, even though it's only their second year, be some of the vets for us, as well as adding a very talented freshman class with 2 transfers as well. And, so the competition level for all the spots, I think, is very high. And for me, that's all we can ask for. If you look at the Patriot League and all the games, it's extremely competitive. Every game we won in the league last year and every game that we lost in the league last year, there's probably about 5 plays different in each one of those games. So, every day we're striving to grab that 1% and try and win those 5 plays so we can be in a good spot, in the Patriot League and in a very challenging out of conference schedule that we have for 24.
Rob, I believe this year you're starting your fourth different opening day starter at quarterback, at least what we believe is going to happen this year. A guy that is really talented, who had a really good game the one time we saw him, Danny Lauder. What makes Danny a potentially special talent?
Danny has a big time arm. He's extremely physically talented. We've had some really good quarterbacks here. He's in that elite level. He can make all the throws, and he's a competitor. In practice, sometimes we have to tell him to slow down. Being the quarterback that has the different colored jersey on that's haloed and people can't hit, especially in our scrimmage. So Danny's very competitive. He's put the work in on and off the field in the meeting room with Coach McDaniel and Coach Spence. So going to be really excited to see him. First game as a bona fide starter this weekend.
And Rob, offensively overall, there's a lot of talent at the skill positions. There's a talented offensive line that, when healthy last year, really kind of got dominant in the run game and was good in the pass game all year long. Kind of talk about that offensive group and your hopes for them this year.
Yeah, I would say it's probably one of the most balanced attacks that we're going to have. Our offensive line. I give Joe Parton, a lot of credit for last year. We had a lot of guys that fought through injuries. We had a bunch of different starting alignments last year with people getting a lot of experience. So we've settled in, with a somewhat veteran group, and we have a very talented group of running backs. It's great to welcome Mason Gudger back after being injured last year, as well as Naeem Kearney, Bryce Cox, as well as a talented group of freshmen. So from my standpoint, I think having the ability to run the ball well to complement Danny's ability to get the ball out to Jimmy Kibble, Nick Dunman, Brock Beestick, to name a few, Cam Pygott, it's very hard to defend them in practice. They have a lot of weapons, and Coach Spence is as good as anybody in the country as far as scheming you up and putting you in difficult situations. So, as I said, it's a very competitive group. Looking forward to seeing them do a great job taking care of the ball and, be a very balanced attack this year.
Coach, always competitive. Your defense under Kevin Doherty, they kind of got back to the level that they had been under you in the last few years after a down year, that first one out of the pandemic. Where did you see the most improvement from that group, and where can they build on for 2024?
It's one of those defenses where, I could sit here and talk to you about David Ely and talk about Veron Garrison and our leadership there. It's very solid top to bottom. I would use our secondary as an example. As Ron Daniel played the entire season as a freshman and comes in as a veteran, you're going to see some talented people who played a little bit on special teams, a little bit in games, and Quincy Briggs. And you have one of the best corners in the country in Wedner Cadet that we have returning from an injury. So, we'll throw upwards of 15 to 18, possibly 20 people at teams with our defense. And I give Coach Doherty a lot of credit for doing the research, making sure that we can do the things that our players do well. And, I love our defensive staff. I think Kevin Snyder up front, Shane Eachus in the back end, and Trey Henderson, who handles our linebackers and special teams, have done an incredible job of, teaching our kids, getting them in a position where they can play extremely downhill and aggressive, as well as holding each other accountable. So, it's a lot of fun to be around those guys. They have fun in the meeting room, in the classrooms, in the walkthrough. So looking forward to seeing them, let this thing loose on Saturday.
And Rob, one last one before we move on in the show. You mentioned a lot of familiar names in that coaching staff. How important is it to have that continuity on your staff?
You're always looking to build trust, whether that's trust from staff to staff, staff to administrators, and especially with our players. We are a relationships-based program. We're looking to recruit players who understand what CSU means, having courage in the face of adversity, fighting through things on and off the field, and understanding this is going to be difficult. What we're asking you to do here at one of the elite academic institutions with being a student athlete and then playing in a very competitive out-of-conference schedule and then into the Patriot League, like those are difficult things. And those are the people we're looking for. That's who we're out there recruiting, both the players and their families. And I think that this group as a whole is in the top one or two groups that I've ever been around, from just trustworthy group. They trust each other. They're getting closer each day with learning more about themselves as people and what their goals are, as players and after their athletic career ends. So really excited to get into the season with them. And coming out of probably one of the better camps we've had as far as the competition and just the team being really close.
Well, Rob, one of those type of guys is the guest on our Sitting Down with Sgar Spotlight this week. It's the Georgetown defensive tackle and Joe Ekabachi jersey selection for 2024, Veron Garrison. Veron, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And Veron, I was telling you before we got going, and Coach Sgar knows this, I'm a big fan of yours because I was an undersized Division III nose tackle. You're an undersized D1, but you're a lot stronger, a lot better than I ever was. Before we get into your play on the field, we got to talk about the Ekabachi jersey. It's such an honor at Georgetown. The moment you found out you were selected, what did that feel like for you?
It was really just an honor, a lot of joy coming in, a lot of emotions coming in. It was really just an honor to be part of this group and be representing 35 for this year, just to be a part of that legacy and the resilience of what that jersey represents. So it was just an honor really to be selected to be the Joe Ekabachi Memorial Jersey representative this year.
And has anyone from that fraternity reached out to you to give you some well wishes?
Yeah, so I played with, obviously playing with like Tyree and Justin Fontenot, Ahmad Wilson, some of the 35s that from the past, they've reached out to me just saying congratulations and just talking to me about what the jersey represents, what it means. So they're some of the guys that just reached out to me and who I've reached out to as well. So.
Rob, why is Veron the perfect guy for this honor for this 2024 team?
Yeah, Veron's with a great group, in his class, we had discussions with, and you can see in the background of the picture, a lot of the former 35s were there when we had the ceremony. Joe's family, especially his brother Tom, and talking about what it means to be the 35. And, it's the best representative of our program. It's somebody that's, in their past has been a man for others, 100% dedicated to the program, and really does a great job looking out for, especially the younger guys on our team. And for me, everything Veron has done on the hilltop, I know that he'll continue to do once he graduates and continue to add to this long legacy, not only of the Ekabachi jersey, but a football program that started back in the 1880s. So honored to have him on our team, to have him as a captain, and to represent Joey with the number 35 this season.
Veron is a 2-year captain, so kind of in a special fraternity there as well. Veron, let's get on to the field. You've got some really good coaches you play for. Coach Doherty, he's amazing as a defensive coordinator. Coach Snyder is a really good one. What do you like about playing for those two guys?
I love the physical mentality that they instill in us every day. Coach Doherty tells us every day we're going to attack defense that plays with relentless effort. We have our standards, doing our job and holding each other accountable. Our 3 musts. Eliminating the big play, get off the field and playing smart situational football. And also Coach Snyder just instilling in me and our group of D linemen just the physicality of playing every day. And every time we step on the field, we need to have the mentality that we're going to beat the guy across from us. So I love playing for both of them, that physicality and the mentality that they instill in us every time we step on the field.
Veron, Coach D and Coach Sgar both told me about your work ethic. You're a guy staying after practice, bag work, all those different things. Where's that come from for you?
For me, I would just say it comes from just wanting to be great at playing football, just being here. I signed that letter of intent and being here for 4 years. I just really want to be great at what I do, and also just playing for my teammates, seeing how hard they work and how much work our coaches put in instilling game plans, everything like that. It makes me want to be an overall better player, and also my family, my parents, my sisters, my brothers, just the confidence and support that they give me. It makes me want to go out on the field and just give everything I have.
Coach, let's throw you back in here. I talked to Veron again about how we're both kind of guys on the shorter side. Your center's a great run, Lasini Maka. He is a little on the short side. What's it like when Veron and Lasini go at it one-on-one in practice?
It's 2 of the best players in the Patriot League, and that was, one of the things I've referenced a bunch of times so far in the show is just the competitiveness of camp. For me, you want to be the best, so you want to go up against great competition, and we want to create those situations for our guys in practice. So when we get to the games, it's easy. So yeah, being across from each other every day, I know that they strive every day to make each other better, both captains and leaders for us. And when you have 2 people like that setting a standard, it's a great example, especially for our 23 freshmen who've come in to say, hey, that's the way I want to do it. That's the standard that we have here. That's what it means to play like a Hoya. Those are the things that it becomes easy when your players are the ones modeling it and helping you instill that culture from a player-run program. And Veron has come in and really created that culture through his 4 years with us.
Last one, Veron. You had a fun summer, like a lot of the guys on the Hoyas do, kind of with your internships and getting out there in the community. Tell us about your internship this summer with the Wizards and Monumental Sports.
Yeah, that it was a very fun experience. I got to learn a lot. Just working under the marketing department, working for youth basketball, learning a lot about the marketing operational side of things, and it was just a really fun internship. And just getting to learn everything about how the sports industry and sports marketing, the operational side of everything, just getting to work with a good group of interns and getting to work under my managers and supervisors. It was a very fun experience, and I definitely want to work in that industry. So.
Well, you're doing a good job there, and you're doing a great job for Coach Scarlato on the field. Veron, thank you for joining us today on Sitting Down with Scar.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And that's going to wrap it up for our show, Coach. Final thoughts as we go into Davidson. What should folks be looking out for as a talented and tough Wildcats team comes to town?
Yeah, they're very well coached. Coach Abel's done a great job since he's gotten there, coming through and inviting them up here to DC in an opener. It's a tough game. They're extremely physical. They are an option team, so it's going to be a very physical and demanding game for us. And I also told the players it's a game that I'm looking forward to opening with. It's going to give us a good gauge where we are in the fundamentals with being able to, tackle and move the football, win the ground game, and do those things. So I know they'll be well coached. I know it'll be a great opener for us, have a lot of respect for their program. So it's a really good game for us at a conference to prepare us for what we have in the challenges down the road in the Patriot League.
Well, Coach, thanks again for joining us on this week's opening episode of Sitting Down with Scar.
Great. Appreciate you, Jeremy.